Attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world, and no one will keep that light from shining. Today, our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature.
Hey, Bronco Nation. Man, that was a humbling video. Hope everyone's having a great day on this day. On this day, I always remember when the original September 11th. And I was a young man, and I was at the door. I worked at a cemetery at the time. One of my routines was I watched the Today Show before I would head out the door, and that's when I saw the horror right before my innocent eyes. Something I would never forget. I just remember that day being so eerily quiet outside. You get accustomed to hearing the plane traffic, and that day I think I may have had one burial, and just the rest of the day it was just eerily quiet in the skies, and it was just like nothing that I've experienced. I'll never forget it. And, today's a day that I think about the victims and the survivors of everyone who lost their lives in New York, Flight 93, the people in the Pentagon and the Twin Towers. And 4 years later, we kind of are going through a similar thing, where that confusion in America is kind of difficult, and so I just pray that we can live life like September 12th, 2001. Again, everybody's got their Old Glory car flags out, everything. Other than that, welcome Bronco Nation to another edition of Bronco Nation Live. Nick Wade. I'm in a nondescript location in the Blue Vision studio. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Angela of Sam Talk Sports. How are you doing, man?
Doing well. Touching words there, Nick. I was playing sick from school because I didn't want to take a test. So that's where I was on that day. I remember thinking, oh, man, this happened because I didn't go to school. I mean, I know now that's not the case, but it is what it is, mate. So, how's your week been?
My week's been pretty good. We got, just been doing a lot of updates to the website, getting as schedules come out, getting those uploaded on. We've got the new basketball schedule up on our website on the front page portion of the website. But we have football, soccer, volleyball, working on getting the softball or softball uploaded as well.
Yeah.
What you got going on your desk?
Well, I was about to say, you say you've been working on the website. I noticed you have a couple message boards up and ready to go. You want to talk a little bit about the message boards and tell the viewers about it?
Yeah. We saw a pretty good spike in registrations on the message boards last week, and so maybe it would be really cool if we just get one posted on there specifically for our Broncos in the NFL. So updated that as well. Got all the Broncos in there that are active rosters. We will be updating those their stats every week, and then just encourage everybody to come in and participate in that. Bring all your NFL friends in, and I want to see some good smack talk in there between these NFL fans. So it's good for people to keep track.
Yeah. You asked what was on my plate. I've almost got my formula perfected. I just got to figure out how to not have Notre Dame ranked 117th with only one loss to Miami, and then it'll be perfect. But it's the crazy little things like that. It makes you really really appreciate the people who actually put their formulas together and put out that product that they put out, especially during the BCS area whenever everyone was all, oh, well, the polls are crap because there's no human error or anything in it. You can't trust it. And I have to retract a lot of my angst about the polls, because depending on what formula you use, you could have the number one team in the nation ranked 30 or lower, and it's crazy. But I almost got it perfect. We'll see how it goes, and I might release my very first Sam Talk Sports Top 25 next week after this week's games, if I can get it perfected. So that's what I've been working on, trying to get a formula that works and accurately represents the play on the field. Whenever it does come out, it won't be like the AP or the coaches. If it was, then I just copy and paste those. It's going to be based on what transpires on the field. Win your games, you get ranked higher. Win your close games, you get ranked higher. Lose your close games, you get ranked lower. The key is win, and you're in. We don't need all these 4 and 5 loss teams in a poll system getting in. If you had a 4 or 5 loss team and that was played out on the field and everything was went in a true playoff format like the NFL, then you could have them 4 and 5 loss teams make it into the playoffs. But my polls aren't going to reflect the teams that are losing, because if you've already proven you can't beat the top 25 or the teams that you're playing, why do you still need to be up that high if you've already proven you can't beat them? So that's been on my plate. But enough about me, Nick. We have some fall sports going on in Bronco Nation, and not just football. Our ladies on the pitch have been playing. Nick, what do you got about our soccer team? How have they been doing this year?
Yeah, they are in a little bit of a downfall lately. They've lost a couple in a row, so they're currently 2-3-2. Not ideal, especially with some of the teams that they were playing. But tonight is senior night, and they just kicked off at 7 o'clock time. So looking for a bounce back, kind of like our football team just went through. So this is a good game to get right. They are playing North Dakota So hopefully they can get things all put back together before they start getting into conference play.
Yeah. Soccer's not the only women's sports that's going on this fall. We also have the volleyball team. They've been on a nice little run to start the season. Nick, how's the volleyball team looking this year?
They too have. They started out pretty hot, and then they too have experienced a 2-game skid. But they're also playing at the moment. They're playing right now. They started the Boise State Invitational. They're playing Utah Tech, and the last time I checked, they were up 1 set to love. So hoping that they can do the same thing and get right, just like the football team did as well.
All right. So we wish the luck to both women's sports. Fall sports, it started earlier this fall, late summer, early fall. I know a lot of people, they associate this time of year to football, and we like to spread awareness to all of Boise State sports so people can go out and see these other teams playing and support the school and support the university that they hold so dear to their hearts.
Yes, sir.
And there is a team that I want to talk about. Excuse me, a team I want to talk about. It's a hidden gem in Boise State athletics. It's actually a club sport. The Boise State rugby team. They dominated the end of last year. Really showed some grit on the field. They've got 2 games coming up in September on the 13th at 12 Central, so it'll be 11 local time. They're at Lincoln Turf Field. They got Idaho State coming to town. If you're a football fan, it's a bye week. Hey, go out and watch some rugby. It's probably the closest thing to football Boise's going to see this week, outside of the local high schools maybe. And then next week on the 20th at 1 o'clock local time, they play Montana State there in Boise before they start their October slate against Oregon State, Idaho, Washington State, Utah. So they've got a bunch of games coming up, a bunch of matches that Bronco Nation go out and watch them. And rugby's a really fun sport to watch. It's crazy that it's not as popular over here as what football is, because to me it's more violent. You don't have pads on. They just get out there and they run people over, and it's fun to watch. So if you're not doing anything, head out to Lincoln Turf Field on the 13th. I believe that's Sunday. No, Saturday. Saturday at 11 o'clock. There's no Boise State football, so go ahead and watch some rugby. It'll be fun.
And the awesome thing about rugby and these club sports is, they do a lot of fundraising on their own, right? And with the rugby team, they're really good. And building a team is more difficult for these club teams than it is for the other big programs that we have. And so through Bronco Nation updates and Blue Elevation, I'd love to see us be able to help these club teams. We've got a baseball club team, hockey. It's going to take fundraising and grassroots effort from like nonprofits like Blue Elevation to help these teams get up to the big time. If Boise State wants to be a Power 5, it's going to take some of these teams to make that to the next level.
Yep. Another sport that's starting up some fall ball this year, Nick. We got the lady softball team going to play a little fall ball. What is that going to look like this year, Nick?
Yeah. So generally the softball team they'll get together late September, early October. Do some fall ball. Usually they incorporate the local teams in Idaho, like NNC and CMI, stuff like that. So it's a good time to get those freshmen that came in, get some experience. Maybe some of these transfer that came in, get some good chemistry. Um, they're going to start out next Friday on September 19th at NNC, looks like. And then they'll be bouncing around between NNC and then they'll come back to Boise, play Southern Idaho, College of Idaho, Idaho State. And they'll cap it off in Oregon. They'll even be playing University of Oregon. But yeah, we're trying to set up some interviews with Schultz and some incoming freshmen, transfer players, and then also the heart of the diamond. We're in the works of trying to get those set up so that we can perhaps do a Bronco Nation Live coach and do some Bronco talks with some of the players.
Nice. Very nice. Well, Nick, last week, Boise State rebounded against Eastern Washington on the blue. Their 13th straight home win. That's good for fourth best in the nation. You were there. You saw it live in person. The funny story, Nick told me that he was literally less than 2 minutes away from being able to join us live in our post-game show. So we're going to give Nick the opportunity to kind of tell us what the atmosphere was like, how Bronco Nation responded after the heartbreaking loss to USF. Nick, what was it like being on the blue or at home?
Yeah, it was great to be back at the blue. It was pretty loud. It was different, not having anybody in the Nez. Not sure what type of difference in crowd noise it was, but it was still pretty loud. Regardless, I've heard louder, but again, we're playing an FCS team, and there really wasn't a lot of drama in that game. So, but there's games where in those tight games, you're acting like it's the fourth quarter every play from the first quarter on. So, so time will tell how the overall decibels vary without anybody over there. But it was still for Eastern Washington coming to town. It was good atmosphere. Some of they changed up on the entrance for the Broncos. Where the Broncos are, they're now on the west side of the field, and the visitors are on the east side. Which I hope that they continue that even after construction is over, because it just makes more sense to have the student section over there where the visitors are, so that they can can catch all that heat on that side and
heckle and hound.
Yeah. So from my vantage point, I'm up in I like the upper, the South Bowl. If you look at the background, that's basically what I see when I go to the game. So now it's pretty cool that I can actually look down and I can see the Broncos right there. I can see, who's getting benched, who's going into the tent, but it was good. It was as far as the fan experience, there's been talk about being too loud. The bass was pretty loud, but if it's too loud for you, what I do is I bring earplugs.
Yeah.
I take when I bring my bag to any event, my clear bag. I've got blankets and battery packs and earplugs and shows and all that. So if it gets too loud, just bring some earplugs and problem solved. Or even put your Bluetooth in, and
Right.
that'll
Yeah.
cancel it out. So
I remember whenever we go to the games, there'd always be the old fellers would always bring their portable radios and stick in their headphones, and they'd listen to Paul J and
Yep.
And watch the game while listening to the radio stats and everything. So you could do that.
yeah, and then you always get the casual fans that are around that you could tell they're kind of uncomfortable because I'm a loud person, so
Yeah.
like I'm very loud, and sometimes there's people in front of me that are putting their hands over the ears, and guess what I can do? I can hand them some earplugs,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of a polite thing to do. Just bring a couple extra sets, and if you're a loud fan like I am, then you can gift a neighbor when you're too loud for them.
Right. Yep. Well, last week was a dominant win. We made talk in the preview show that Boise State needs to dominate and blow out the spread numbers. It wasn't really a blowout of the spread, but they did cover and covered easily. And without the second given up touchdown, it would have been a blowout of the spread. So I'm not worried about optics at that point. It is an FCS team, and we did exactly what was expected. Matson was 61.5%. Throwing 16 to 26, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed for four times for 35 yards and a touchdown. How was Matson's play this week compared to last week, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think this played right into his wheelhouse. You get the running game going early, when you dominate on that kind of opens things up for like a play action or RPO. But yeah, he was relatively calm back there, right? Right where his game is. I thought that he had every quarterback's going to have 1-2 tosses that aren't quite right. But
Yeah.
I thought I mean, a big pass to Ben Ford that was right on the money. A few other ones that were right on the money. I thought it was a vintage dog game. Extending the plays, pushing the chains, getting first downs, and just doing everything and making protecting the ball, not giving it up. We didn't throw any interceptions. We didn't have any fumbles. I really do think that the one fumble in Tampa was caused by the humidity. Other than that, he just doesn't turn the ball over, and that's what we're going to need if we're going to be.
Yeah. Surprising on the night was Caples only getting one reception for 11 yards. Are you worried that he's not getting into the play, and receivers like Ben Ford, who was 3 catches, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns, a local guy from Idaho, and then you had Marshall with 4 receptions and 132 yards. Caples was supposed to be that Marshall type guy. Are you concerned that he's not getting the touches, or do you think that's just all part of the game plan, and eventually the defense will start focusing on some of these other receivers, and Caples will get his moment to shine when the time's right?
Yeah, yeah. I just have a feeling that that was Coach Potter's game plan, was just to kind of get the players in there to see what he had with the other receivers, because I mean he's got a good robust collection of what Caples can do.
Yeah.
Outside of being injured the 1 year. I think that he'll establish the run in his next few games, open up some slot opportunities for Trill, and yeah, I'm not too concerned about that. has got, I think he's probably got the best hands of the group. And it just gives me more confidence knowing that we have other weapons other than Caples, because when we're coming into this season, you know, we knew that what Caples is capable of, which is there was a lot of question marks with everything else.
Yeah. The running back room, it was everything it was meant to be in week one. We had Dylan Riley with his late long run of 77 yards, was the leading rusher with 6 carries, 123 yards and a touchdown. Sire Gaines led the stable for most of the game. He had 14 carries, 98 yards and a touchdown. Sherrod started off with good. He had 7 carries, 42 yards and a touchdown. And even Bates got into the mix with 1 carry, 20 yards, and a touchdown. Do you think our running back room, the order in which we changed things up from USF to Eastern Washington, you think that's a better order, or are you you want to see more of any one person getting the ball over the other going forward?
I think it worked for this game against Eastern Washington. You know, they're an FCS. The real test is going to be, you know, when the Broncos start playing these FBS teams. You know, like
Yeah.
State, and then and I've been writing about this spring that you know, I believe that, you know, just based on the resume, what's been on from last year, the fact that Dylan Riley, there wasn't even any question about Morena's registered last year. Just the durability that he has and the playmaking ability that he has as well. I do believe as we get into these FBS teams, I believe the best strategy would be, you know, a healthy dose of gains, and then complementing him um, with Dylan Riley, and then mixing in with some screens and, you know, some other kind of like some gadget plays like we saw Cam Bates do in Eastern Washington. I think that Malik could do the same thing because I think he has more speed.
Yeah.
And then also, and I hear people say that, you know, Dylan Riley's better at screens, but, uh, you know, he's just proved, you know, in season and, you know, 3 games now, that, if he gets an inch in a gap, he can exploit that and take the rock to the house. I mean,
Yeah.
he's more than a screen or a receiver. Plus, you know, we want him to stick around. He's got 3 more years of eligibility, and you know, I just think that investing in his talent alone is worth it. So for me, I think the strategy should be a healthy dose of gains, complement with Dylan Riley, and also and Malik surrounding him. Even Malik, a lot of those special teams duties.
Yeah. Defensively, Ty Bedingfield had 9 tackles, 3 tackles for losses. Jaden Mickey had the fumble and the 7 tackles and a tackle for loss. Our defense still not wrapping up like it probably should. Well, not probably, like it should. But there was some improvement this week. What are your thoughts on our defense moving forward?
Yeah, it was. Saw a lot of improvement with the defense. Most of it was in self discipline and just overall. I believe they got humbled, especially a few players, and I think that Coach D we had some words, and you could see that the kind of changed. Kind of changed some attitudes. But I will say that putting Jaden Mickey in there really, I think, really improved things for the secondary. A lot of press on his end. Really sticky on the receivers, and the tackling was really fundamental, and you could tell that he is a power four talent. And I'm very impressed with my man Buck. Always been a Buck Benfield fan. He was all over the field again, and that does kind of go unnoticed. He gets a lot of tackles, and he also gets a lot of heat sometimes when there's blown coverage, and he's trying to catch up on that. So he does catch a lot of unnecessary heat. And the thing I like about Buck is he's a leader, man. He steps up for his teammates when they're getting hit by shrapnel. He steps up, he speaks out for him, and he's a clear-cut leader on that defense. I was very impressed by what he was doing there, and also it was awesome that we had been previewing the game, and I mentioned that before the season started, it'd be interesting to see how that front seven meshed, and then just seeing some of these platoons up front where you have David Latu, Deion Washington, Lopez Sanusi, and Keanu Miatolo. They're meshing good, and then Lopez Sanusi got a sack in the game. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. You always tell if you have a line that is worthy of the NFL, or at least worthy of college greatness, based on how hard it is to pronounce their name. And Boise State has a really good line. What hasn't been really good, and probably the reason why, and I'd speculate it may not be, the reason why Boise State didn't kick much against USF, our field goal kickers were absolutely atrocious against Eastern Washington. Real quickly, Nick, what are your thoughts on special teams?
Yeah, that's a real big concern of mine, because if we're going to be a playoff team or have a chance, first and foremost, we got to get that defense up to the top 30, and by doing that, give your team a shot, especially a G6 team like us. You give your team a shot to win games with the top 30 defense, and winning those games, especially playoff games, those could be decided by a field goal. So I'm very concerned about the kicking game. I am hoping that they can get that sorted out very quickly. Because that, we've seen lean years kicking game, and it's not pretty, man.
Yeah. So real quickly for Bronco Nation, I know there's been a lot of talk about Jared Taylor for Eastern Washington, if he's how he's doing. Last reports I've seen was he's back with the team and he's okay. So whether or not he's going to be back playing this week or next, I don't know. That's up to his coaches to decide. But he is back with the team. He is doing good, and that's all I have on that. So moving forward, we have some football this week that's not Boise State related. We're on our bye week this week. But we do have some teams that we need to look out for. UCLA is probably going to be in panic mode. They're 0-2 with I'm leaving at the helm. He'll probably be leaving UCLA after this year if they can't fix that. um, right now, UCLA is a 14.5-point favorite and an 81.4% chance to win that game. However, New Mexico, we've talked a lot about them in the previews and how that coach is really trying to turn that program around. Quarterback Lane, he's 44 of 68, a touchdown and 3 interceptions. Probably get more of that coming in against the UCLA defense. I don't see New Mexico really being a threat for UCLA if this was the first game of the year. After watching UCLA play and lose their 2 games to Utah 43-10, and then turn around and lose to UNLV, which UNLV controlled that game from start to finish. They lost 30-23. We're about to find out just how good New Mexico is for the Mountain West. If they can knock off UCLA, that may be a really good strength of schedule boost for the Mountain West and for Boise State when New Mexico comes to town on the October 11th. So really looking forward to watching this game tomorrow at 8 o'clock Mountain Time on the Big Ten Network. If you have Hulu, you get all the college football games except for the ones on Peacock. So you can watch that tomorrow night. If you're not out at high school games like I will be, it's my school's homecoming, so we're going to be out there at that. Nick, you have any thoughts on that game, or should we move on to the next one?
Fresno.
Go do Fresno next. Fresno Saturday at 9 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Mountain Time. They play Southern. It's going to be an easy game for Fresno. Southern's 1-2, Fresno's 2-1, and Fresno's looked good as of late after their season opening loss to Kansas, 31-7. They turned around and beat Georgia Southern 42-14, and then Oregon State 36-27. So it looks like they've got things figured out. If they can keep winning, obviously Southern's not going to be that great of a resume booster, but they come to Boise November 1st. So a one-loss Fresno in Boise will help us out regardless of how they get those wins. Middle Tennessee and Nevada. Middle Tennessee is 0-2, Nevada's 1-1, and Nevada is a 8.5-point favorite. 9.5, 8.5. Sorry, I'll get it right. 8.5-point favorite. They're 78.3% chance to win. Their quarterback Purdy, he's 19 of 36 and 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. Maybe he can get that turned around against 0-2 Middle Tennessee, or they can completely just fall apart. They lost to Penn State 46-11, and then turn around and only beat Sacramento State 20-17. So this one's really a coin flip. Nevada very well could lose this one. I don't have high hopes for Nevada this year. Didn't in my preseason markup, but Nevada comes to, or we go to Reno the 24th, October 24th. So maybe they can pull some wins off and make it work. And I know there's a lot of Bronco fans out there that hate Nevada.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we are in an uphill climb, so we kind of have to root for the conference to win some of these games that they shouldn't be winning, and especially against lower tiered conferences. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Nevada, but hoping that they get a win.
The game of the week for the Mountain West comes on Saturday at 7 on CBS Sportsnet. You have number 20 Utah going into Laradice, playing Wyoming. Both teams are 2-0. Utah's a 22.5-point favorite and a 92.8 8% chance to win. Quarterbacks throwing Dampier's thrown 38 of 48 and 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. On the flip side, Wyoming's 36 of 58, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. 427 yards for Anderson for Wyoming, 398 for Utah. So it could be a good matchup. It could be a sleeper game for Utah. Utah's had some pretty easy competition. UCLA probably looked a lot better at the first of the year than what they do now as far as a resume booster. 43-10 for UCLA, and then they beat Cal Poly 63-9. And then Wyoming, they opened their season with Akron, a 10-0 blanking of Akron, and then went in and beat UNI 31-7. So there's been some things known to happen in Wyoming. Some teams have gone there and fallen. So I'm not going to write the Cowboys off in this one. But I do still think Utah wins. They just may not cover.
Yeah, they got elevation. They got that working for them.
Yep.
Something that they pride themselves with. I believe it's over a mile. Yeah, it looks like Utah's got a 92.8% chance to win.
Yeah.
See, the spread is 23.5.
Yep. That's why I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. I think Wyoming's going to beat the spread, but they may not beat Utah.
Yeah, I would take that, but let's just hope. I hope that Wyoming actually wins that. Be a pretty good win for Wyoming in the Mountain West. That would just make these conference games against Boise State even more inspiring as a fan too.
Yeah. Air Force and Utah State will play at 8:45. This game does not have a national. I lied. It's going to be on Fox Sports 1. Air Force is a 4.5-point favorite, but Utah State has a 61.3% chance to win. Take that as you may. I don't really see a whole lot with Air Force. They've only played the one game, and it was against Bucknell, and they won 49-13. So they really haven't played anyone yet. We'll see. Utah State, they've played at home versus UTEP and won 28-16, and then went down to College Station and put up a fight with A&M for a little bit until they got later on and A&M started running away with it. They lost 44-22. I think Utah State wins this one, and it may not even be close. I think Utah State's better than what most people are giving them credit for.
Yeah, this will be a good precursor for both teams for us. Right now we're in our bye week. We are going to be heading to the Air Force Academy, so we get to see how Bronco Mendenhall does in the Mountain West, one, and then we'll see how Air Force does against a good coach like that. So this will be interesting to see. It'll tell us what we need to know going into our next game against Air Force. I like the spread there. I wouldn't take that spread, maybe, because I think it may be like a touchdown.
Yeah.
Difference.
Yeah. And our nightcap on the Mountain West Network is the 2-1 Hawaii Rainbow Warriors home against Portland State, who is 0-3. This game shouldn't be close, especially if Alahado, his ankle's good to go and he's able to march him up and down the field like they did with Stanford. Portland State's lost to Tarleton State 42-0. They lost to BYU 69-0. and they lost to North Dakota 50-20. So I see Hawaii being able to put up those kind of numbers as well, especially if their quarterback's healthy. Hawaii, of course, we covered their win over Stanford 23-20. Then they turn around and with a Gimp quarterback who ended up getting pulled out of the game to prevent lasting damage. They lost to Arizona 40-6. I really had high hopes for that one being closer, but I'd like to see that replayed with the quarterback at 100% health. Then they turned around and beat Sam Houston State 37-20. So here we go. Portland State, they should get up there in their scoring and make light work of them.
Yeah, this for him actually. I thought that was pretty awesome. They took to Stanford in the first game.
Hey Nick, your mic's cutting out, bud. We can't hear you. No, I think it might be your fan. Is your fan still on or off? No. Talk again.
Hear me?
There you go. Don't move your face. Just stay right there.
Okay.
And stick your tongue out to the other side.
No, I think that they're a good story. I like how they started the season off. Not surprising that Arizona took it to them, especially with all those injuries that they endured in the first game. Yeah, I mean they're a favor. They've got a 96.5% chances of winning against Portland State. So I think they'll win.
Yeah. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams right now that are currently ranked ahead of Boise State in the Sam Talk Sports poll that I'm not releasing yet because I can't figure out how to get Notre Dame not ranked 117. But these ones are legit. Just because one team is out of whack doesn't mean every team is. But Texas State, App State, South Florida, Tulane, Memphis, Navy, and North Texas are all ranked ahead of Boise State. And rightfully so. I mean, Boise State's right there right at the base of that group, outside of Florida State and Tulane and Memphis, who are a little bit higher up on the poll. App State plays Southern Miss this week at 6 o'clock on ESPN Plus. App State's 2-0. Southern Miss is 1-1. Southern Miss obviously has basically the Marshall Thundering Herd 2.0 after that exodus. But App State's got the better chance of winning this one. They've had a few cupcake games to really find their groove, and I really don't think they were playing much against Lindenwood. And if I remember right, that might be one of the games that had some weather delays. There's a lot of weather delays this week in the eastern part of the United States. They beat Charlotte 34-11 and Lindenwood only 20-13. It makes for some pause and going all in on App State, but I still think they can knock off Southern Miss if they bring their game to do it. Southern Miss lost to Mississippi State 34-17, and then turn around beat Jackson State 38-20. So the only test between the two teams really has been Southern Miss playing Mississippi State. So it'll be fun to see two could be evenly matched teams duking it out for the Sun Belt. So be fun to watch.
Yeah, I would love to see App State do the best they can, come into Albertson Stadium, with either being undefeated or a one loss.
Yep, a one-loss App State at the end of the year bodes well for us.
Right. Yeah, I'd like to see them come in 3-0. We would, if we could take care of business, and at Air Force, we would be 2-1. And then so you got a pretty good game, 2-1 Boise State versus 3-0 App State.
Yep.
And then I would like to see it be a pretty good competition because I want our guys ready for when we go over to South Bend.
Yeah. Yep.
I
After
would,
their
I,
heartbreak. Go ahead.
I wouldn't take a spread to cover. I think App State will win by more than 3.5.
Yeah. After their heartbreaking loss to Mississippi State, Arizona 24-20, Arizona State host Texas State, who's also 2-0. By the way, the teams that I mentioned that are in front of Boise State, they're all 2-0. We want Arizona State obviously to win this one. Keep Texas State out of being able to jump ahead of us, because I really do believe that the SBC is a slightly better conference than the Mountain West, not by much. And if New Mexico can beat UCLA and a couple of these other teams can go on a hot streak, we might be able to jump in the conference rankings, jump the Sun Belt. But they're pretty evenly matched conferences. I just give the edge to the Sun Belt. But we do want Arizona State to go ahead and knock out Texas State and prevent them from being able to reach the CFP conversation. But we also want them to do it because they're in the Pac-12 with us next year.
It's going to be an uphill climb, and we need all the help we can get. With these teams that are ranked ahead of us, especially now we're not receiving any top 25 votes.
Yeah.
So
we have Memphis and Troy Saturday at 11 Central, kicking off Saturday. Memphis 6.5 point favorite and a 74.3% chance to win. We definitely want Troy to show up and bring their A game and hand the Tigers a loss. We need that so that they don't keep climbing up in that rankings. Memphis beat Georgia State 38-16, and then Chattanooga 45-10. And then Troy, they lost to Clemson 27-16. Again, one of those games that was hampered by weather delays. And then Nicole State, they beat 38-20. I don't see Troy beating Memphis, but stranger things have happened. And that's who we want to win. We need some of these American conference teams to suffer some losses, because if not, then the CFP, G5 CFP rep will be whoever the American Conference champion is.
Yeah, the AAC is our biggest threat. You got last year there were about 4 teams that were in the mix. We're going to see the same thing this year. Memphis being one of them. Right now they're 2-0, correct?
Yep.
So so we want to see the winner of that conference come out with at least 2 losses. We need a 2-loss champion at least, depending on what we do. Notre Dame. So it's very essential that happens to that conference.
Yep. Anything other than a win or an extremely last second field goal type close loss to Notre Dame and Boise State CFP chances pretty much go out the window. It's not impossible, but it becomes that much harder to make it happen. So we definitely want these teams to make it easier for us if we do falter against Notre Dame. You have Washington State is 2-0 against North Texas 2-0. North Texas is the bottom of that group. North Texas and Navy really probably, and then I made mention of UTSA at one point being our best chance of a 2 or 3 loss team knocking off South Florida or Tulane to make that reality for Boise State a little bit brighter for the CFP. So North Texas, we want to root for them, but we don't want to root for them just yet. Washington's or North Texas is actually a 5.5-point favorite over Washington with a 59.4% chance to win. Their quarterback, Mestamaker, is thrown for 553 yards and 5 touchdowns. Potter for Washington State, thrown for 465 yards and 4 touchdowns. So we're going to see a lot of airing it out. Not much rushing for either of these teams. So we'll see if anyone can win the trenches, and that might be the difference of the game. Washington State beat San Diego State 36-13 and Idaho 13-10. While North Texas beat Lamar 51-0 and Western Michigan 33-30 in overtime. So they could have been looking ahead to this Washington State game. And so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because they are a good team. However, we do want Washington State to win that one.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt, man.
And Tulane has Duke this week. This one here is actually one of my pick'ems, and I believe I picked Duke. I might have picked Tulane. I don't remember now. I've slept since I made my picks. But Tulane is a 2.5-point favorite over Duke. This one was really hard for me to pick because I think Tulane's going to win, but we really want Duke to win just so that Tulane gets that notch down. Duke's 1-1. They're Mensa, their quarterback, 723 yards, 5 touchdowns and an interception. And BYU's old quarterback Retzloff, who left BYU to avoid serving a 7-game suspension for their ethics violations. He's thrown for 277 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he has 177 yards on 23 carries with 2 touchdowns on the ground. So basically contain Retzlaff, and Duke might be able to walk away with this one. Duke lost to Illinois 45-19 last week, and then they beat Elon 45-17 and lost to Ole Miss 52 or excuse me, that was last year. Just kidding. Tulane beat South Alabama 33-31 and Northwestern 23-3. So it's going to be a good game. I think these teams are more evenly matched than what their records suggest they are.
Yeah, I am going against Tulane for sure. Like I said, I want those AAC teams to have at least 2 losses, just to give us a shot. It's slim, but that's what we got to have.
Yep. 2-0 Navy is going to Tulsa at 7 o'clock Central Time Saturday. They are a 14.5-point favorite and 77.9% chance to win the game. It's going to be more ground and pound, obviously, for Navy. That's what they're more noticed for. At Tulsa, they've got a pretty balanced attack between running and passing, so it's going to be fun to see how Navy reacts to that. Navy beat UAB 38-24 and VMI 52-7, and then Tulsa beat New Mexico State, lost to New Mexico State 21-14, but beat Abilene Christian 35-7. I don't see Tulsa winning this game. I just don't think they have it this year. But Navy's probably going to be starting to find their stride here. I know we asked at the start of the season, is Navy going to build on last season's success, or are they going to falter back to what they were before then? And I think if they struggle against Tulsa, we may have our answer before they actually play anyone of significance. But we do want Tulsa to win to put them down a peg.
Yeah, the service schools, they scare me because it seems like they usually have a really good schedule where they can just kind of run for it, and then
Yep.
and you're depending on them to beat up each other. So um, that I love our armed forces, but I'll be rooting for people. So.
Yeah. And then the G6 game of the week, I'm fairly certain whenever this game was put on the CW, they did not expect USF to be ranked 18 and playing the number 5 team in the nation. I'm fairly certain this was put on the CW as people can watch Miami blow out a G6 opponent if they want, and they don't have to worry about it on national television. This game here is going to shape the college football playoffs for the rest of the season. If USF beats Miami, you got no choice but to put them at least top 12, maybe even highest top 10. They beat number 25 Boise State. They beat number 9 Florida, and then number 5 Miami. You can't ignore them if they win this game. Bronco Nation should be rooting very hard for Miami in this one, though, because if they do win, it makes it that much harder. USF will have the afford the benefit of the doubt to be able to lose one, maybe 2 games, and still win the conference and get the bid over a 1-loss Boise State or a 1-loss anybody else, just because of their preseason or their pre-conference resume. So right now, Miami's a 15.5-point favorite, 72.2% chance to win. But you have Brown, USF. He's basically a running back playing quarterback. You're not going to take him down with just one guy. Boise State showed that. Florida showed that. He's thrown for 473 yards and a touchdown, but he's getting it done with his legs as well. He's got 2 touchdowns on the ground. Just I think Miami has going for them the fact that they watched what USF did to Florida. So Miami won't be overlooking this game, looking on to the next one. They'll be coming with their A game and treating it like any other top 25 matchup, and not just these guys got lucky. I think they saw what they did to Boise State, they saw what they did to Florida, and now they're up for the task of shutting them down. And Miami's only real test this to date has been Notre Dame, the season opening game that really a real thriller at that, 27-24. And then they got to rest a little against Bethune-Cookman, and they won that one 45-3. So USF is coming off a tough battle with Florida, winning 18-16, and Miami's coming off a cupcake, so that's going to play a factor as well. So, but that's your G6 game of the week.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. It could go either way. You're right. If USF wins and they get up there like 12, man, that's going to be hard. For the voters to keep, even if they do slip at the end. If they're ranked, if they continue to be ranked, it's going to be really difficult for Boise State to make the playoffs. So I do think it'll be kind of neat to see how Miami plays them. I do think that Miami will, like you said, come. I think they've done their research and studying on USF because getting 2 ranked teams twice in a row, back to back, should get any team's attention. So be fools if they didn't take this team seriously, and I think they will. They took Notre Dame seriously, and it'll be neat to see. We'll have a common opponent in USF, and actually we have quite a few, but we'll be able to see how well they do against USF. Both teams are acclimated to the humidity,
Right.
so that won't play a factor in it. But it'll be pretty cool to see just how it matches up, and then it might even give us something to look at with what they did with Notre Dame, so we can clean off that
Right.
where we could have improved USF and then really dive into the film of the Notre Dame game with Miami and see if we can
Right.
glean something from that and implement it into our scheme.
Yep. And a scenario Bronco Nation needs to look at is Miami beats USF. Miami beat Notre Dame by 3. If Boise State can beat Notre Dame by more than 3, that may go a long way in kind of swaying more of those voters that have written Boise State off, going, okay, first game of the year, playing in a humid environment, that could have been a factor, going for it on fourth downs and such. If Boise State can beat Notre Dame by more than what Miami beat Notre Dame and Miami beats USF, that might go a long way in putting Boise State back in the CFP conversation, or at least a mid to less distant thought about the CFP. Puts us in a better position.
Now, do you think margin of victory in that Miami USF game will play any weight?
If Miami blows them
minds?
out, it's better for us, I think, because that kind of knocks them back. Right now, they're on that little pedestal. If Miami blows them out, that might knock them off their pedestal and might make the voters pause before ranking them up any higher, and it may knock them down out of the top 25 altogether. Most likely in the mid-20s.
And especially if we're able to upset Notre Dame and win by more than 3, that might show a better light on Boise State despite that we lost that we encountered.
So my P4 game of the week, I had a really hard time picking this one. Entertainment value, I think number 12 Clemson at Georgia Tech is going to be a fun one. Saturday morning, Clemson's a 3.5-point favorite. I might be slightly biased, though, because Longview native Haynes King is Georgia Tech's quarterback. If he's back, I think they rested him last week, so he could be back for this game at 100%. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Then you had the SEC matchup between number 6 Georgia and number 15 Tennessee, with Georgia 3.5-point favorite in the afternoon. That game's at 2:30 Central on ABC. I thought about doing that one just for the sheer competitive nature the SEC has. So, but I ended up resting on my P4 game of the week being something that's more Boise State relevant, and that's Texas A&M number 16, 2-0 at number 8 Notre Dame, whose only loss and only game has been Miami, so they've had a couple weeks to prepare for A&M. Notre Dame's a 71.2% chance to win, and I think that's strictly because it's home field advantage. They're 9.5-point favorite, and they've had 2 weeks to rest up from their game against Miami. Reed for A&M has thrown for 509 yards and 7 touchdowns. Carr for Notre Dame has thrown for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns and an interception. A&M's got an extra game under their belt, beating Utah State 44-22 last week and opening the season with a win against UTSA 42-24. So this is actually going to be their first test of the year for A&M. And then, of course, Notre Dame, their season opening last-second loss to Miami, 27-24. I guess not last second, but it is what it is. It was a good game. I don't know if you watched that game, but we definitely want Notre Dame to win this one, get back on the winning track. We want them to be one loss whenever we roll into South Bend to give us that much more of a resume booster. I know a lot of people thought that game was going to be a top 25 matchup, maybe even a top 15 matchup. Now it's going to be our saving grace or the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, Yeah, it looks like they're favored pretty good. Like you said, they're number 8. They're at home. Um, really like to see them win that. Then they have that the next game may be a trap game for them.
Yeah.
Purdue. Um, then after that, then they could potentially, if they continue to win, it potentially be 3-1, and if we continue to win, we'd be 3-1. So you have 3-1 Boise State versus 3-1 Notre Dame, and then you would think that they would, if they once, if they continue to win, they'd be, they continue to climb. I don't know how much they climb, but maybe a couple more spots by the time we roll
Yeah.
into town.
It's going to depend on who loses in front of them or wins. So the Arkansas game for Notre Dame should not be overlooked. We have Taylor Green started his career out in Boise, and he's lighting it up for Arkansas this year. 561 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He's got an important game this week against Ole Miss. Both teams are 2-0. Ole Miss is an 8.5-point favorite and 73.7% chance to win. It's going to be probably more passing than not. Simmons for Ole Miss, he's got 576 yards passing, 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Where their running back Lacey has 246 yards and 4 touchdowns. So it has potential to be a barn burner, but I'm interested to see how serious Arkansas is this year. If they pull off this win against Ole Miss at 6:00 Saturday night, 5:00 for Mountain Time, Taylor Green's going to solidify himself as a quarterback that can win the big games for Arkansas, and I'm excited to see exactly how that one plays out.
Yeah, and that'll help TG10's draft stock. I would like to see him to win because that would bolster Notre Dame's strength of schedule as well.
Yep. If they're undefeated going into Notre Dame and Notre Dame gives them that their first loss, then that bodes well for Boise State for that strength of schedule and strength of record aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I'm rooting for Taylor. Yeah, you would think if they knock a 16 off, remain unbeaten, maybe sniffing the top 25 by the time they play the game.
Yep. Another notable Bronco that transferred out, Andrew Simpson. He's North Carolina's leading tackler with 15 tackles right now. Really sad to see him go. I was really hoping he'd stick around and stick it out and be that guy in our defense. North Carolina's got a 93.2% chance to win against Richmond. That one's over on the ACC network. Richmond's 1-1. North Carolina's 1-1. And see if North Carolina can turn their season around after that embarrassing showing against TCU Monday night to start the season.
And I'm looking at North Carolina's schedule, and it's not tough. It's not tough at all. I mean, they got Charlotte, Richmond, then they have UCF, Cal.
Yeah, it looks
Forest, Virginia.
Yeah, Clemson and NC State and Duke are probably their toughest remaining schedule. Maybe Cal, but Cal's so up and down. I can't really get a good look on them yet. I don't have a feel for Cal yet. But Andrew Simpson. Yep.
Cal's got that freshman quarterback who was in
Yeah.
the running with Boise State, and he chose Cal.
Yeah.
So Drew Simpson has 15 tackles, right?
15 tackles, leading tackler on the team. I know Boise State misses tackles. They miss having them tackles on in the backfield, defensive backfield. So
Yeah, that'll if he wants to make the pros, he's going to have to continue that, and they've got a good schedule for him to do that. So,
Yep. Yep. So it's a bye week, Nick. What are you going to do this Saturday?
Saturday, I will probably be watching football, but there's also I'm really into fights, man. I
Yeah.
really like the UFC, and there's a big boxing promotion this weekend, and it's pitting up Dana White from the UFC. He's promoting boxers against. There's some really major bouts. You got Canelo and Crawford, um, both undefeated, and then you got the undercard hitting two undefeated stars. Um, and that's gonna. They're both going simultaneously, so I'll probably be like I do with like football, watching both at the same time. So.
Well, you failed your test because the answer was I'm going out to Lincoln Turf Field to watch the Boise Rugby Club take on Idaho State at 11 o'clock Mountain Time.
Well, the fights aren't until the evening, so I could definitely do that.
Well, Bronco Nation, you can look for my hopefully, if my formula pans out by that time, Monday or Tuesday next week, I'll be releasing my top 25, my inaugural top 25 for football. I've done it for basketball. Now it's time to delve into the football fields and get that going. Next week, I'll be putting out my first cheer guide of the week as well for you guys to see. I finally decided how I'm going to put all that stuff together and make it presentable and what information you're going to see. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll keep you guys as posted as I can and as up to date as I can, and get ready for some CFP scenarios whenever they release the first CFP poll, and we'll work it, bring it in one day at a time, 1 week at a time, one game at a time, and give you all the information we can.
Yep, we're kind of still in that spot where we just need a little bit more football to be played. So I think about after the App State game, that's where things are really going to start heating up with the talk, and especially if you get some losses in there from some of these G6 teams, they'll give us a lot to talk about. Really appreciate everything that you do for Bronco Nation and producing all these the stats and the rankings and stuff, and just putting everything out there so we have a clear picture of the big picture, right? So appreciate you, Bronco Nation, for watching tonight. Again, every sub helps. So why don't you guys? We're like right there. I think we're at like $5.99 at YouTube. So head on over to YouTube if you're watching this, and give us a sub. It's free. And as with everything, with the website, everything, you will never find a paywall. Everything is free. All the articles, all the message boards. If you're a Broncos sports fan, you're already a VIP for us. So, but we do ask that you just go ahead and follow all of our platforms, because that's going to help us monetize things so we can rev share with the schools. So we'll give you an update. This will be flying out here as soon as we end the show, but the volleyball team did sweep 3 straight sets against Utah Tech, so they're back in the win column. And then tomorrow they will be taking on. Let's see. They're taking. I'm looking here at the front page of our website. They are taking on. The Idaho State is on Saturday. They are taking on Utah Tech today. Anyway, they're back at it tomorrow in the gym. So get your tickets, and if you go to any one of our posts on any one of the platforms, just hit one of those posts. The link to tickets are there. Go grab a ticket. They're affordable. Go watch the team. But any last thoughts, Sam, before we break?
Yep. I think it's an unspoken schedule now that these are going to happen Thursday nights, about 7 o'clock Mountain Time. It may differ from week to week slightly, maybe, depending on what events are going on. But Bronco Nation, come out Thursday night, set your alarm for it, 7 o'clock Mountain, 8 o'clock Central, and come interact with us. We'll post your comments on the live stream. We'll interact with you. We'll talk to you. Especially when we get into the meat of the season, you can ask us the questions, ask us what we think about certain players. You can tell me I talk too much, do whatever you want, but keep it clean. And let's make this a show for the Bronco fans to be able to interact, to ask their questions, and express their grievances or elations with the team. And let's really make this a show that we can be proud of. This is a show by Boise State fans for Boise State fans, and it's 100% free. Doesn't cost you anything to participate, and let's make this something special and something where players and coaches say, "Hey, we want to go on that show there to interact with the fans as well." It gives us an opportunity to bring you more content and give you more of what you love.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah, and in fact, that's what we're working on. We're working on getting Coach D on, Coach Schultz, and many others. And I can assure you, you can come with your opinion, and you're not going to get berated by one of those. We like to debate difference of opinions in a respectful way. Like I've said before, opinions are like a-holes. We all got them. I got them.
Mine's bleached.
No, TMI. This is a place where you can have an opinion and you can spread it. Just have it out in the chat. It's going to be good fun. I do have that update for you guys. Again, volleyball team swept tonight against Utah Tech. Tomorrow they are taking on the University of San Francisco. So I went on, I did what I was telling you guys to do, and I went to one of our outlets, and I got that update for you. So go get your tickets for the San Francisco game tomorrow night with the Broncos in the gym, and support them. Anyway, appreciate everybody for watching tonight. And again, as our programs are striving to be championship caliber, let us as fans step our game up and become fans of the same championship caliber. And that means going to the games, being loud, supporting the student athletes, both physically and also monetarily. And if you ever want to help out, we've got the avenues there. You just go to blueelevation.org, whatever you can, and you give $1, you are a member of our Blue Elevation team, or a perpetual member. So $1, and then you're coming to our Bronco roundups, and you're just part of the family. It's easy as that. Until then, Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Hi, I'm Ron Dorn. I'm president of Blue Elevation. A lot of you have probably heard of it in other sites like Bronco Nation Updates, and I just want to talk a little bit about Boise State football and what we're trying to do to help move the team forward. It's a lot of fun to work with them, but as you know, with the upheaval in college football and the NIL money, we're always needing more, and we're trying to do that by giving more news to you than you can get in other sources, and events that you might be able to attend. And we would just love to see your support, additional support for Boise State, so we can take this to the next level, especially moving into the Pac-12. I see such a bright future for us by doing this. For those of you that are as old as I am, you remember when we had wooden bleachers and we did rodeos in the stadium, and we had good coaches and we were doing the best we can with what we had. These coaches need that continuated support to make it happen for us. You can see what we've done with what little we've had, but we really need the help, and we just need the commitment, and we need you to get involved with us to push the Boise State program forward. Again, especially going to the Pac-12, and especially the futures out there, and what the basketball team is doing, the women's softball team is doing, and some other sports that I follow. We just want to keep you involved and focused and helping us out any way that you can do that to support our university.